Turn one soul ring.
I like ASMR, but it's like when I watch those videos, they're trying to do ASMR too much. I like the accidental ASMR.
Just like watching somebody do like a process, and it just happens to be very like relaxing.
Yeah,
Oh,
or there's this guy on YouTube. He's called the Lock Picking Lawyer.
Yes,
and he
yeah.
picks locks, and it is kind of like ASMR. You know, he's just talking at like a normal volume, and he's picking locks and explaining what he's doing, and then he'll take the locks apart. And it's sort of like accidental ASMR. I'll do another shout out for Primetime Pokemon as well. That is accidental ASMR. Not all of his videos, but if you go back and watch his older videos, that is more like it. He's gotten a bit I don't want to say too big for his britches. I think he fits into his britches now. But that is also like his older videos are accidental ASMR. So but most ASMR, it's like don't whisper to me. Like talk lightly, but you don't have to whisper.
Yeah. No, I really like the Lockpicking Lawyer. His videos are very relaxing.
Yeah, very satisfying. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. So Lockpicking Lawyer, if you're out there, DM us. Let us know what you think.
Do you think he plays Magic?
I wouldn't put anything past anybody at this point.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. This is Turn One Soul Ring. We are doing another set review. I'm Eric. Sorry, I just heard Eric sneeze. That's why I said I'm Eric. I'm Kevin.
Hey, I'm Eric.
And I'm Riley.
Woo.
And like I just mentioned, we are starting our Strixhaven set review today. If you've listened to one of our set reviews before, you know that they're not exhaustive. We cover the cards we're interested in playing in the formats that we play. As usual, we'll go through the cards in Wooburg order. Then we're going to do an MDFC/gold category. Not really. They're going to be two separate categories. Then we'll wrap things up with the colorless and land cards. Today we're going to be covering white, blue, and black cards before we wrap things up. Before we get to our first white card, though, Eric is going to tell you all how you can get in touch with us or find us out on social media or just in general out on the web or the net. I've been watching a little bit of Reboot, so I feel like saying the net more.
Okay, everybody, you can find us over on Instagram at Turn One Soul Ring the podcast. You can also get a hold of us directly via email, Turn One Soul Ring the podcast at gmail.com. We throw everything up onto YouTube. The best way to find us there is typing in Turn One Soul Ring the podcast. And also, if you like what we're doing here, we have a Patreon page. So you can always go check us out over on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Turn One Soul Ring.
That's right. You know, I was just thinking, like 112 episodes, I don't think we've gotten the names mixed up. I kind of feel like my mother, but I don't think we've ever gotten the names mixed up. I think that's pretty good.
What do you mean, our own names? Is that what you're talking about?
Our own names,
what?
yes. I'm just saying that I'm someone else. I think that's the first time this has happened.
It's quite a feat if you think about it.
Yeah, I was able to remember my own name for over 100 episodes. Oh boy!
And you know what? It was just a matter of time. So let's get to the first white card that we have here. It is Clever Lumimancer.
Quite clever.
Let me just pull up here. Here we go. Very clever.
Quite clever.
1 white for a 0/1 human wizard. It has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, Clever Lumimancer gets +2/+2 until end of turn.
I think this is a pretty decent card for going to be draft sealed and maybe standard. Just like a little bit of aggro, because once ever you're casting a spell, this is really like a 2/3, which is nothing to shy at for 1 mana.
Yeah, if you can reliably cast that spell, and in case you don't know, Magecraft is the flagship mechanic for this set. It's all about instants and sorceries, and there's a lot of wizards in the set.
A lot of wizards.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit more at home in constructed formats.
Yeah.
So like, you know, maybe if there's like a red-white prowess deck for historic or modern, like it might show up there. In limited, I feel like there's not necessarily going to be a ton of fuel to throw into it. So like I think in the first few turns of the game you could probably get a trigger, like a reliable trigger, but at a certain point your spells are going to dry up, and then you're just going to have a 0/1 sitting on the battlefield.
But I think having like a 2/3 for 1 mana for like those few first turns, and then just using it to as block fodder, isn't the worst. Because then if you only had like a 1/2 for 1, you're going to use it for block fodder later on probably anyways.
Yeah.
We have Devastating Mastery next. It's 2 and 4 white pips for a sorcery. And this is part of a cycle in this set. You may pay 2 and 2 white rather than pay this spell's mana cost. If the 2 and 2 white cost was paid, an opponent chooses up to 2 non-land permanents they control and returns them to their owner's hand. Destroy all non-land permanents.
This is really interesting for Commander because it says only an opponent. So it's not all of your opponents. Only one player gets to choose 2 permanents, and then everything else is gone. Non-lands, of course.
Yeah, and it doesn't target either for all those weird niche scenarios where they might have hexproof.
Yeah, for sure. It's fair.
Yeah, I definitely think like this card and this cycle in particular is geared towards multiplayer formats. Definitely in limited or in any kind of constructed format, you don't really want to be giving your opponent 2 of their non-land permanents back before you pull up the rest.
No.
Like, it's kind of putting you at a bit of a disadvantage, but
in a lot of cases they may only have 2 like creatures or something.
yeah. Kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah. But and then of course like 4 mana wraths are always really good. So seeing this as a 4 mana wrath with a little bit of like political upside with it, being able to have somebody save 2 of their non-land permanents, I think is really, really fun for the format.
For sure.
Absolutely. Elite Spellbinder is next. It's 2 and a white for a 3/1 human cleric with flying. When it enters the battlefield, look at target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card from it. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it. A spell cast this way costs 2 more to cast. It's kind of an interesting card, and it doesn't, it sort of feels like everybody, it's sort of a feel-good card all around. I feel like, I'm thinking of like Thoughtseize or Inquisition, and it's like, oh, I just lose my card. That's it. It's gone.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a constructed card. Like, not something I would play in a multiplayer format, of course, but I like the idea that you can throw their tempo off to the point where, like maybe they had a game plan from keeping their hand, and now all of a sudden it's kind of interrupted a turn or two. But at the same time, you can also get some blink shenanigans going here because that card stays exiled with that tax on. It doesn't care if Elite Spellbinder stays on the battlefield or not, so you could probably do some interesting like death and taxes, like Fecker Wisp shenanigans to get a couple extra cards
that is
going.
Very spicy. D&T.
There is a card that this reminds me of that's really escaping me right now. It's a human.
Vendilion Click?
Oh.
Well, Vendilion Click is not a human.
No.
So.
I can't find it.
So I'm not sure what it reminds you of.
Is it one of those, like, is it like Banisher Priest? Like that kind of
No,
thing?
you get to look at your opponent's hand again, and then whatever you choose stays exiled until it leaves the battlefield.
Is it white?
It's black. It's 1 of anything and
There's
1 black.
Brain Maggot. There's like...
No. It's a newer card, too.
Yeah, the flying pirate.
Yeah, the
Freebooter?
flying pirate.
Oh, Kitesail Freebooter.
Yeah, Freebooter. That's the one.
Okay, why didn't you say that?
Thanks, guys. But yeah, it really reminded me of that one. Of course, Freebooter, like in a way, is a little bit better because it's until it leaves the battlefield. But I think Freebooter also says like non-creature, and this can just hit.
Yeah, this is non-land.
Yeah, non-land. So I really like it for that kind of tempo play and just being able to like look at your opponent's hand, slow down a card you may not want to see coming down too early, that you can maybe keep getting your aggro in or something like that. And then paying 3 mana for a flyer that has 3 power is pretty good as well. Just with the
definitely
evasion.
puts a clock on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and getting to see what's in your opponent's hand, especially in constructed formats, is incredibly powerful.
Oh yeah.
And Freebooter sees play, like it does see both modern and pioneer play, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I definitely saw modern play. I could see it seeing. We didn't get to play much Pioneer, but I feel like if it was good in modern, you'd probably see it in Pioneer.
Yeah. Yeah. We have Mavinda Student's Advocate next. It's 2 and a white for a legendary creature bird advisor 2/3 with flying. You can pay 0, and you may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard this turn. If that spell doesn't target a creature you control, it costs 8 more to cast this way. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead, and you can only activate once each turn. This really has nothing to do with this card's effect, but I really like how they did the owl people in this set. They're very, very cute, and they kind of remind me of what's that panda movie with Jack Black where he's
Kung Fu
Kung Fu Panda. Yes. They're just very, very cute. I really like the art direction that they took with the owl people.
Something about him having 4 talons kind of makes me uncomfortable.
Okay, I
like
get that.
talons for hands and then also wings.
Wings, yeah.
It's like, what's going on here?
No, I get that. Yeah.
This is I when I saw this card, I instantly thought feather.
Yeah.
Right, like.
Oh yeah.
If you have a feather deck, I think you're gonna want this card in there now.
That is a lot of card advantage.
Yeah,
because
sure.
anything that ends up going to your
in
graveyard,
feather.
you can get back. So yeah.
Yeah. I was also thinking
one,
about it.
1 white pip, it's easy to cast.
Yeah, just like a mono white like combat trick spellslinger deck. Like I just him alone. I feel like he would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And this isn't you can only activate it like once each turn, so you can't just like instantly break stuff.
Yeah, the templating is a little weird. Like the whole, if it doesn't target a creature, it costs 8 more. Like what the hell is going on there?
I guess if you're in a pinch and you need to cast that Wrath of God,
Oh man.
Yeah.
Pay 12.
But that cost is so much extra. Like either just it can only target a creature, or like I don't know.
Yeah. Pay 9 to Swords to Plowshare somebody's creature. Sounds like a good deal.
Good deal.
Next up, we have our first lesson card. So it's Reduced to Memory. It's 1 and 2 white for a sorcery lesson. Exile target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. So I guess we should explain the lesson and the learn mechanic here. Just Riley, do you wanna do that for us?
Sure. Yeah. So basically, how it works is lesson and learn kind of go hand in hand. Lessons are I think they're only sorceries. I don't think there's any instants that are lessons, but it's a sorcery type. And if it's in your sideboard and you have a card that says learn, learn basically means that you can get a lesson from outside the game. So meaning your sideboard, bring it into your hands. Or if you don't do that, you can choose to rummage. So discard a card to draw a card. But yeah, a lesson in this case, if this is in your sideboard, you can use a card with learn to pick it up from your sideboard and put it into your hand.
Confirmed lessons are only sorceries.
Okay.
Cool.
Good check. Okay, so Reduced to Memory.
Yeah, obviously I think the lessons are best in constructed formats or draft, not really I shouldn't say constructed. I meant to say standard and the draft formats, because anything past standard, I just don't think the cards are good enough to really be viable, except for Pauper, maybe.
Yeah, I think they're a little slow. They're sort of, the lessons seem to be generally overcosted for the effect that you're getting.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I think they're costed in a way that it's like, it's nice that you're getting some form of card advantage or getting a replacement effect. But it's, also not premium, right? Like there's a cost to doing so.
But that being said, I really think Reduced to Memory, being able to, if your opponent has some sort of big threat, it's nice to be able to, even just grab this from your sideboard and be able to get rid of their threat.
Yeah, and give them a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. Totally.
Yeah. In limited, learn and lessons are awesome in limited. I've played a couple
I have
drafts
no
so far.
doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun to have like that balance between, do I have enough learn cards? Do I have enough lesson cards? Usually if you can pick up a few lessons, it really pays you off for having some learn cards in your deck. Having this kind of effect, like usually like in, I think Kaldheim, we had Raven Form, which gave the opponent a 1/1 flyer. And in draft, that was not really a good card. Like in Commander, I'm sure it would be fine. Like a 1/1 split over 3 opponents that have 40 life. Like that's not going to put much of a clock on the game.
Definitely.
But in draft, like a 1/1 flyer is a real threat. So
it's
giving them,
especially with all those equipments that you could put on it. Kaldheim Limited.
Yeah, for sure. So giving them like a relevant creature type, like a red-white spirit, 3/2 red-white spirit, is like not nothing. Like that's still a threat.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's very situational and can be used in flexibility with other lessons is what I think makes this card good.
Yeah, like I don't even think I wouldn't mainboard this at all.
No.
Next up is Secret Rendezvous. It's 1 and 2 white for a sorcery. You and target opponent each draw 3 cards. So this card is terrible in limited and constructed in general. Don't play it.
Yes.
But it is 3 mana to draw 3 cards. And that's pretty good, even though it's going to be card disadvantage for you and as opposed to the player that you choose. But I love cards like this for Commander. It reminds me of like Scheming Symmetry. The rare occasion where you don't want to cast this is where you're so far in the lead that you just don't want to give anybody else an opportunity to draw cards. But if you're in that position, you don't need to be casting a spell like this. But most of the time, I think you're going to be able to look around the Commander table and find somebody with that desperation, that look of desperation on their face, and you can offer them an olive branch. And and then you're going to get to draw those 3 cards and get a little something extra. Like this is a fun political card.
Yeah, I agree.
Totally.
Pairs well with like things like Alms Collector and Hull Breacher as well.
Ooh,
so
yeah. Oh, see, I just wanted to have fun, and Riley, you took it over the line.
Well, with Alms Collector, you get to draw 4 cards.
You're right.
3 mana, draw 4 cards. That is good value.
Next up, we have Semester's End. It's 3 and a white for an instant. Exile any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers you control. At the beginning of the next end step, return each of them to the battlefield under its owner's control. Each of them enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it if it's a creature, and an additional loyalty counter on it if it's a planeswalker. So everyone knows like Eerie Interlude and cards like it are among some of my favorite white cards. But a deck with a ton of creature ETBs wants this card either to save itself from a board wipe or just to get a bit of extra value by blinking its creatures. Unlike Eerie Interlude, this is the creatures come back at end step, so your turn is basically over, and that's also a downside with planeswalkers because I used to have a Brago deck, and you blink your planeswalkers and then you get to use their loyalty abilities an additional time. So you don't get to do that with this card. But it is going to be a great way to, again, save your walkers from lethal damage or a mass damage spell. So I just think it's a great protection card. I'll kind of put it in that category.
Yeah, so one thing to note is Eerie Interlude returns them on end step as well.
Yes, that you are right.
Yeah, that's how you dodge the wrath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Eerie Interlude is also any number of target creatures. It only targets creatures.
Yeah, so this does hit your planeswalkers. Yeah. But the other cool thing is like your creatures are coming back stronger too.
That's right. And I think this is the first time we've seen a card like this that does this for planeswalkers.
Yes, for sure.
We've seen cards that
blink spell
can blink a single planeswalker, but nothing that it blinks like all planeswalkers.
Yeah, I guess other than like Brago who blinks non-land permanents.
Yeah, it's 4 mana, so I mean it's a little bit more of a commitment than Eerie Interlude.
Yeah.
But I think in a deck that you can benefit from this kind of effect. I'm thinking like it's always fun to loop these kind of effects with things like Eternal Witness,
Yeah.
just to get that repeatable protection.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also thinking like my +1/+1 counter Miri deck would probably have fun with something like this, just as kind of like a protection spell that also could potentially buff the whole team with counters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely and that's also something to consider.
Yeah, like the 1 extra mana for the +1/+1 counters, I think is pretty extra spicy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
pretty extra spicy.
And the loyalty counters as well. Like you've used you've used a minus ability, and they're going to come back with a plus loyalty. So that's definitely something to think about. And yes, it is 1 more mana, but it does hit a broader card type, and it still is just that one white pip, which is what you want to see in multicolored commander decks. But I'm purely thinking about this card in commander.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
We have Strict Proctor next. It's 1 and a white for a 1/3 Spirit Cleric with flying. Whenever a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability to trigger, counter that ability unless its controller pays 2. Longtime listeners of the show know that I'm not a lover of stacks. I've played stacks. I don't like piloting it. I don't like being on the receiving end of it. But I do love when they add a new stacks piece. It's because it's just so it's just an interesting design space. It's like, how can we stop players from playing Magic? It's just kind of, I don't know, there's something, I guess it's the stacks player in me.
I think that I particularly like this one because it doesn't stop you from playing Magic. It just, it adds an extra hurdle. Like you could still cast your spell. Like at the end of the day, you could still cast it if you really needed to, but it adds a new form of interaction. It's kind of like a Leonin Arbiter for ETBs.
I guess what is stopping you from playing Magic? I guess that's subjective. But yeah, you're right. You can still cast your spell if you need to.
Yeah, and then like if it's a really good ability, you can still pay 2 for it as well. So it's just an extra 2 mana to get your triggered ability. So if someone at the table is doing some ridiculous shenanigans, this can kind of like slow them down. Be like, hey, stop with the Panharmonicons and stuff over there.
Yeah, great. This is great against Brago.
Yeah.
Or you can like use it to your advantage and play like a Phyrexian Dreadnought.
There you go.
There you
go.
And just have like a 12/12 for 1 mana.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
great.
Very cool. Yeah. Okay, moving on to blue here. Our first blue card is Archmage Emeritus. It's 2 and 2 blue for a 2/2 human wizard with a staff with what looks like very similar to the Modern Horizons set symbol at the end of it. And it has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card.
Hell yeah.
Well, that seems pretty good.
Yeah. If you're just digging, this would be I hadn't really thought about it, but I could see trying this out in my Talrand Sky Summoner deck. There's a lot of cheap instants and sorceries. You just draw more instants and sorceries and make more drakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect for Talrand.
Yeah, you opt for 1 mana, scry, draw a card, draw another card off this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like drawing cards. I like casting spells. So this guy has everything I want.
Yeah.
Emeritus, you are everything I want.
Yeah, he's pretty shredded too. So boom.
He's got those cool glowing glyphs. Like,
oh yeah.
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 Yeah. I wonder
Who knows what to do.
I wonder when we're gonna start seeing body art like that. I can't wait. And I'm just gonna be like an old man with my, like old timey, just regular ink tattoos, and just being like, back in my day, we didn't have glowing tattoos.
Our tattoos couldn't glow.
Yeah. We have Curate next. It's 1 and a blue for an instant. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put any number of them into your graveyard, and the rest back on top of your library in any order. Draw a card.
I like blue spells that, filter the deck a little bit and get you through, like Opt and stuff like that. And I thought this one was pretty interesting just for like what you're able to do with it. Because you're like, oh, do I really want both these cards? I can put them both back. I can draw the better one I need right now. I don't need these at all. Just get them in the graveyard. Like, just the options that it gives you.
Yeah, and a lot of cards, like this, like an Opt, have like a scry effect. So they get put onto the bottom of your library. And a lot of times, I think we'd rather have cards in our graveyard rather than the bottom of our library. That, like, cards seem to be, in my experience, easier to get out of the graveyard than off the bottom of the library. And, I know we have like tutoring effects like that, but I think this card putting them into the graveyard makes it like just a touch better.
It's like Surveil. It's just Surveil, right?
But they can't put Surveil on it because this isn't Ravnica. And this is so much not Ravnica that they named the guilds something else. We can't call it Dimir anymore. Well, we don't even have allied campuses. We can't call it is it anymore? It's Prismari. And we also can't say CMC. It's mana value.
They should just make Surveil like a evergreen keyword. Just leave it at that. Like,
yeah,
I like Surveil.
Yeah, they should do that. They should do that with a lot of keywords. With like Metalcraft. That's another one. Like Inventors Fair should just say Metalcraft. What's wrong with that? We got Magecraft. Come on.
Yeah. Give me the crafts.
Next up, we have Ingenious Mastery. It's X, 2, and a blue for a sorcery. You may pay 2 and a blue rather than pay this spell's mana cost. If the 2 and a blue cost was paid, you draw 3 cards, then an opponent creates 2 treasure tokens, and they scry 2. If that cost wasn't paid, you draw X cards.
Making friends.
Yeah, again, like, obviously, this is fun with Commander with being able to choose an opponent, and you can help them out a little bit there. And then, like our Secret Rendezvous in white, this isn't giving your opponent as big of an upside compared to that card. You're not both just straight drawing 3 cards.
Yeah.
So,
wow, blue got the better spell.
What a surprise. I mean, this is also rare compared to that one being uncommon, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, this maybe, like, I drawing 3 cards compared to your opponent, gaining 2 mana that goes away and scrying 2, I think is still the better value.
Like, I've like, if I had to pick, obviously I'd pick Ingenious Mastery. Giving them scry 2 and 2 treasures is a big bump. Like, you're ramping them, 2 turns ahead essentially for free. Even if it is just a one-shot deal.
Well, it's not free. They had to smile and wink at you.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah. They had to commit to you,
Yeah.
You're mine now. Yeah, but like, this is fantastic. I love it. It's just like nice, fun political tool at a really solid rate. Like, 3 mana to draw 3 is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Kelpie Guide is next. It's 2 and a blue for a 2/2 beast. It has 2 activated abilities. The first one is tap, untap another target permanent you control. And the second one is tap, tap target permanent. Activate only if you control 8 or more lands. That's somewhat of a common theme here, is the 8 or more lands stipulation.
Man, when I saw Kelpie Guide, I was both excited for Commander and Limited. I was just... This kind of effect to untap a permanent is awesome.
Yeah, it's huge. It's like Kiyora's Follower, or that other blue card that's a zombie does it as well. It's like 4 mana.
Yeah, they don't come too often.
No,
I think Vizier of the Tumbling Sands is another one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I have a what is it? I'm thinking Jeskai. It's a Jeskai Ascendancy deck that is like looking for all these kind of effects, like either mana dorks or untappers like this, just to be able to keep going.
That's that one. That's that obscure
Nosto
commander from Legends, right?
Yeah.
Nosto, Voice of the Crags, or
whatever
it is.
Yes, with the heads. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Chimera.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But even in limited, this thing is a freaking house. Like,
really,
you know, it's doing some work in the early game by ramping your spells out a little bit more, and in Quandrix, like the theme is getting to eight or more lands. Like that's one of the core themes of Quandrix. And as soon as this thing becomes a tapper, like, yeah, good luck, because your attacks or your blocks are just messed up from then on, right?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Oh yeah.
really strong.
In limited, it's super strong to be able to tap any permanent. So
Yeah.
that's super good for this. Because then, like we have seen, like white gets it a lot, but they have to pay like 1 or 2 mana as well. So once you hit those 8 lands, you have to pay for this. It's super good.
Makes me think of Icy Manipulator from Dominaria, and
Yeah.
you know,
Hell
before
yeah.
you comment, I know that wasn't the original printing, but that card in limited was fantastic.
Exactly.
Multiple choice is next. It's X and a blue for a sorcery. If X is 1, scry 1, then draw a card. If X is 2, you may choose a player. They return a creature they control to its owner's hand. If X is 3, create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. If X is 4 or more, do all of the above. This is very, I mean, there's a lot of very flavorful cards in this set. It's a very flavorful set. But this card is I'm definitely gonna nominate this for flavor win of the set.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Yeah, this card is amazing. Like, it's okay, don't get me wrong, it's a good card, but it's nothing spectacular. Just the design of it is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
different design.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish a little bit more is the X for 2. You got to choose the creature instead of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
But
of
at
course,
the end of the
yeah.
day, like, if you're paying 5 mana, you're getting a 4/4 that bounces a creature of their choice to their hand and scries 1 and draws a card. So,
Yeah.
like, that's a pretty good deal.
Pretty good
in
deal.
most cases.
Yeah, this card's great.
Resculpt is next. It's 1 and a blue for an instant. Exile target artifact or creature. Its controller creates a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. Now, while I don't think this card is very good in limited, a la what Riley was saying earlier about Raven form,
Hell yeah.
because as much as a 1/1 flyer is good in limited, like it's a real thing, especially Kaldheim limited, a 4/4 is a real threat. You know, you only have 20 life here. Like that's a big deal. And we've seen this kind of effect before with cards like Pongify or Rapid Hybridization, where you get the 3/3 like Ape or Frog Lizard, and also the Reality Shift, where you manifest the top card of your library and it's a 2/2, and then if it's a creature, you can you can flip it up for its casting cost, right?
Yeet.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's a creature. It's not just a permanent. But what I really like about this card, again, thinking about it for Commander, is that it's giving us efficient artifact removal in blue, which is something that I don't think we've ever seen before, unless you want to run colorless effects like that, like your unstable obelisks or your scour from existence. Guys, I think I might be the only Commander player that runs scour from existence in his decks, but let us know in the comments.
I do have a copy in one of my decks.
Oh yeah, nice. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those cards. Like, I mean, I don't mean to get on a tangent, but like 7 mana is a big commitment.
It's
You
a lot
gotta
of
really
mana.
want to get rid of that permanent.
Yeah, and like Meteor Golem is it might be a better bet because you do get the body, but it's not an instant. So that's sort of the trade-off. But I know like players jokingly say that like blue can do everything, and I think over the past couple of years it's sort of shifted to green can do everything, and green actually really can do everything, but I don't think it's going to be too much longer until we see a card like this that can remove an enchantment in blue. But I think for Commander this is a solid artifact removal spell in your mono blue decks, and I've already been all over Deckstats on my decks and trying to find a place for this card in my blue decks, because as much of a threat is as much as a 4/4 is a threat in limited, in Commander, you have 40 life, you give somebody a 4/4, it's no big deal.
Yeah, like this is in the same kind of realm as Pongify and Rapid Hybridization, right? Like
absolutely, yeah.
It's got a little bit more flexibility in what it can target. It exiles, and sure, it gives them a 4/4, but like the difference between a 3/3 and a 4/4 is not huge. So yeah, like this is a fantastic removal spell in blue.
And I would even I would pay the extra 1 generic mana and give them an extra 1/1 buff on the token that they get for that exile effect.
Yeah, and that extra target, right?
That's what makes Reality Shift. Yeah, exactly. That's what makes Reality Shift such a great removal spell in blue.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's awesome to see it at common because it's going to be widely available.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Like I got 4 of them for my my 4 mono blue commander decks. And I got the foils 25 cents a piece.
There you go.
And that's Canadian, so
you can take that to the bank.
Yeah, check it. Well, I took it out of the bank actually.
It's a whole $1.
I was also going to say, in limited, hitting your own treasure token and making a 4/4 is, I think pretty good.
Totally.
That's legit.
Yeah, that is a legitimate play.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you'd need to do some deck building considerations during the draft. Like, I wouldn't start off like that, but that could be fun if you have the support for it.
My plan for this draft is resculpting.
I drafted 5 resculpts.
Yeah. Watch out.
Solve the Equation is next. It's 2 and a blue for a sorcery. Search your library for an instant or sorcery card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. That's something else they've changed, the templating with this set.
Thank God.
Because it was always then shuffle your library, but then it's then shuffle. So like you can pull out a deck of 52 cards, shuffle it, and that's a legal play.
That's not.
No, I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Oh my God, that's so good.
No, I anytime they can shorten their slang, like I'm generally a fan of that.
Yeah.
I think like the nice thing about then shuffle is it's very straightforward. Mm-hmm. Like it's not that buried within, Magic's kind of vocabulary, right? It's, you're shuffling a deck of cards. What else are you going to do, right?
Yeah, totally. So speaking of the templating, I always thought, because I started playing Magic when I was about like 9 or 10. It was Urza's Legacy, and I always thought it was really progressive. Like not when I was 9, but in retrospect, I always thought it was really progressive that Magic always had that like he or she when referring to a player, even though like most of the people you play with are men. That's the majority of the player base, but I always thought that was progressive. And then you look at a game like Catan, and it's all like it's all male pronouns in their instructions. Like if you pick up a new game of Catan, it's all male pronouns. So just want to give WotC a little pat on the back for that one. But I digress. So solve the equation. This is, what is this? It's an uncommon. Yeah. So, I think this effect, I'm thinking like Merchant Scroll is a very similar effect, except Merchant Scroll only lets you tutor up a blue instant or sorcery. So it's a little more narrow, but I
think it's specifically instant.
A blue instant.
Yeah.
Right. So it's even more narrow than I just said it was.
Yeah.
And
super narrow.
And it's still a fantastic commander card, especially in the CEDH meta. But this card, I don't know if it's CEDH playable, but I think the same decks that would want to play Merchant Scroll want to play this. You will want to play this card because it's not as narrow, and I think that 1 extra mana is to give you that flexibility of getting any instant or sorcery card. I think the value is there, and I'm even thinking of I've been trying to find a place for this in my Narset deck, because previously what I would tutor for Merchant Scroll was Mystical Tutor. But with this, I could get extra turn spells, extra combat spells, whatever. I could go get Path to Exile.
Yeah, and like the great part about this card is because it's just instant sorcery, it doesn't limit you by the color. This fits into so many decks.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and so like this card I think is super strong, and then I think even the value is like a couple bucks for an uncommon right out the gate. So
actually, I got the same place I got those resculpts. I got this foil pre-order, 49 cents.
Really?
Boom.
Yeah, Wizards Tower, baby.
Nice.
The Fallow Field. Where are they? I don't know. It's somewhere in Canada.
Well, you know what you can do? You can always solve the equation to tutor for your demonic tutor to search for the card you want.
Yeah, like you'll get Mana Crypt. Yeah, I need a little bit of ramp here.
Yeah.
I have 5 mana, but I need that extra 2.
5 mana to search Mana Crypt. Oh my god.
Yeah. Or an extra flex would be solve the equation, get demonic tutor for a mountain. Play your mountain.
Oh yeah. Well, sometimes you need that 1 extra mana for your Torment of Hailfire on your next turn, you know?
Yeah, in your mono black deck.
Next up, we have Test of Talents. It's 1 and a blue for an instant. Counter target instant or sorcery spell. Search its controller's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that spell and exile them. That player shuffles, then draws a card for each card exiled from their hand this way. This is kind of giving me like Arcane Denial vibes.
This is like a counter spell for only instant sorceries, but it has the clause of like oh my god.
Oh, like Surgical Extraction, or that other one with Split Second.
Yeah, this is like, let's put Surgical Extraction on a counter spell.
But also the Arcane Denial vibes were because you get to draw cards for the cards exiled this way. So it's like, yeah, you're countering my spell and then removing my ability to cast the same spell again at any point in this game. But I get to draw some cards, so I'm not really that upset.
You only get to draw cards if that card was in your hand, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. So yeah, I'm upset.
Yeah, I wouldn't run this in Commander by any means.
Oh no, God no.
Yeah, I absolutely love this card. I think the design space around it's really, really cool, and somebody's trying to do something weird. I think this is like really good in like the control matchups, because then you can kind of like get rid of your opponent's like good spells and stuff. So
probably good against Emergent Ultimatum decks.
Yeah, get that out of there.
Rid of, yeah.
Emergent Ultimatum, never again.
Yeah.
Okay, so our last blue card is Tempted by the Auric. Tempted by the Auric. Yeah, you got it, Riley. So it's 1 blue for a sorcery. For each opponent, gain control of up to 1 target creature or planeswalker that player controls with mana value 3 or less. Ooh, this is like a more restrictive Blatant Thievery.
Totally.
Yeah, man.
That's spicy. This is a great multiplayer card.
Yeah, this is really, really cool. I like this card a lot.
Very fun. Get some nice value creatures on your side.
Yeah, or get like a nice like Ashiok, not Dream Render. Well, that one would work, but the OG
Dream
Ashiok
Eater?
from Theros.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Get hurt. See what happens then.
If you Gilded Drake somebody, you can get your Gilded Drake back.
Oh yeah, and then if you're playing your Brago deck, you can then blink your Gilded Drake. Oh man, I want to put that deck back together. Okay, so moving on to black here. This is our last color today. We have, first up, Brackish Trudge. It's 2 and a black for a 4/2 fungus beast. It enters the battlefield tapped, and you can pay 1 and a black to return it from your graveyard to your hand. Activate only if you gained life this turn.
This is so bad. Looking at this again, it's like, what the hell? There's so many hoops you have to jump through. Not only does it enter the battlefield tapped, but you can return it to your hand.
Yeah, it's not even the battlefield.
Only if you gain life.
There's a lot of hoops, yeah.
When I first saw this, I totally thought it was Battlefield.
Yeah. No, me too.
Yeah.
This card's lame.
I think like the spot, like I did one draft and I was pretty much Withermore and I was gaining a lot of life, and so this is kind of like a repeatable thing in limited, which is not bad. I think that's like the one spot for it.
It's probably fine. It's just enter the battlefield tapped like
Sucks.
all the time.
Yeah, and you still have to recast it from your hand. Like,
yeah, I mean that part. Like, I'm sure you're in a late enough part of the game that that's not a big deal. But if I play a card that's recursive, I want it to be on defense most of the time.
Yeah.
Right?
It is a fungus beast though. What a cool creature type.
Oh yeah, I'm in for the creature type. That's fine by me.
Yeah, next time I go to the grocery store and I go to like the mushrooms, it's like, why does this just say fungus? They're beasts. They're alive. So next up we have a Baleful Mastery. It's 3 and a black for an instant. You may pay 1 and a black rather than pay this spell's mana cost. If the 1 and a black was paid, an opponent draws a card, and you can exile target creature or enchantment.
Planeswalker.
You can exile target creature or planeswalker. Thank you, co-hosts.
Even like paying 4 to exile a creature or a planeswalker is a good value at instant speed.
Yeah, and like all of these, they're better in Commander because you let somebody else draw a card. It's like Thought Not Seer in Commander. It's good.
Yeah, it's like, Eric, I'm going to exile your threat, but Kevin, you can draw a card.
And I say, thank you. I will be your slave for the rest of the game.
Exactly.
You're a dick,
I'll cherish
give me
this
the
card.
Right, we'll give Eric the card so he doesn't come back at you tenfold.
Yeah, be like, Eric, I know you just spent 10 mana on that huge threat, but it's fine. You get a card. But no, it's an instant speed, like Doomblade exile effect that can also hit planeswalkers if you needed to. This thing is, I don't know, this is one of the best removal spells for Commander I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's too bad it's not common because then we could play it in Pauper.
Exactly.
Yeah,
definitely.
They make the one card from this cycle common. They're like, what?
Yeah,
What are you guys doing?
No, it's gonna be the green card.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's sort of like the green card from the Commander 2020s, like the free card cycle, and the green card is like, I have never seen that card cast. That being said, I haven't gone to play at a game store in a year, so that might have something to do with it. Anyways, the next card we have is Callous Blood Mage. It's 2 and a black for a 2/1 Vampire Warlock. When it enters the battlefield, choose one. Create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with, when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. And exile target player's graveyard. Oh, this is fun with ETBs.
Oh, hell yeah.
Definitely.
It's like a Phyrexian Rager with like extra abilities.
This is totally a Trevor card.
This is totally a me card. I love this card.
Riley's like, no, it's a me card.
Yeah, I want this one.
Just remember, the first option's the best.
Oh yeah, those pests, like the
first
like,
option's fine.
Yeah,
like,
it's because the Golgari Commander deck, or at least the face commanders, is all about those pests.
Yeah, like if you're in a deck that's like has sack triggers and stuff, like this is actually pretty good there too, because then you're getting that token. But it's like if you don't have that fuel there, you can still draw a card from him entering the battlefield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even in something like Mikaeus, like he's not a human, so he's gonna get that undying and like that draw a card or exiling a graveyard is pretty sweet.
Yeah, just that. Yeah, the flexibility is what makes it so fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you can loop it with your graveyard or bounce it back to your hand and replay it, like it's just gonna be a good time.
Next up, we have another lesson. It's Confront the Past. It's X and a black for a sorcery lesson. Choose one. Return target planeswalker card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And or remove twice X loyalty counters from target planeswalker and opponent controls. So I think the art is, I think that's like younger Liliana with her zombie brother maybe, and then Professor Liliana is like, no, don't make the same mistakes I did, and she's like, it's all predetermined, I can't do anything, and they're like, oh, okay, fair enough.
What?
Are you serious? Like, you know it's Gideon, right?
Oh, is it? No, I didn't know. I thought it was her brother.
Look at the flavor text, Kevin.
Oh, okay.
It's
you
like,
know what? Yeah,
that's
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't look
Yeah.
at the I
Directly
honestly
from
did not
War
look
of
at
the
the flavor text. Okay, my bad. But I think you could have put the brother in there in Gideon's place, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. But that's a
You
really
didn't
good
change the
callback.
flavor text, of course.
It's a really good callback to the War of the Spark, I think, actually.
Oh right.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's dead
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
he
yeah,
died
that's like
for his
what,
sins.
like, that's where Gideon died to save Liliana.
Yeah, no more Chad.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. No. I bet the incels are probably happy about that.
This card as a lesson is fine. I don't think it's going to come up too often in limited as being relevant. In Commander, not interested. I don't know. Eric, did you have any ideas for this?
No, not really.
All right.
yeah.
Story Spotlight.
Next,
Story Spotlight.
well, like I don't know the whole War of the Spark story. Like I'm still on like Mercadian Mask, so like we'll get there. But until then, I don't know what's going on. But you know what? That's my bad. I did not read the flavor text. So next up we have Crushing Disappointment. It's 3 and a black for an instant. Each player loses 2 life. You draw 2 cards. This is great, and it's an instant.
Yeah. The instant speed, I think, is really great. But
It's
yeah,
alright.
and then it's just like all players have to lose. So, like a lot of black spells, you lose 2 life, draw 2 cards. Now everyone has to lose the life with you, and you draw the cards.
Yeah, and it just costs you. It's in a game of a average pod of Commander. You're paying 2 extra mana. In addition to what you'd pay with like Sign in Blood or is it Night's Whisper, and you're getting you're draining everybody for 6 life total, and it's just costing you 2 extra mana. No big deal.
Can we just take a second to appreciate Night's Whisper?
Yeah,
That's
of
a
course.
really good card.
It's a fantastic card. Yeah.
I love that card.
Yeah, it's great. If
Whisper.
if you're running if you're running Sign in Blood and you can only run 1, like Night's Whisper is the better card because it's just one black pip and generic. So
Yeah, unless you really want to get that target effect where you can make them draw the 2 and lose 2.
I did actually do that in a game of Pauper once with my mono black land destruction deck, and it did win me the game.
Exactly.
So
You got to burn them out.
it's because sometimes you do. You blow up all their lands, you still got to burn them out. Eye Twitch is next. It's 1 black for a 1/1 eye bat with flying. When it dies, you learn. So I think this is our first card that actually learns in this set review. So I'll just read the reminder text. You may reveal a lesson card you own from outside the game sideboard and put it into your hand, or discard a card to draw a card.
So like learn's really cool as well, because if you don't have anything in your sideboard, you don't want to grab anything, you can always like rummage to still get through your deck as well. So I think that's really neat about that they did that with the mechanic.
Yeah, that is a nice it's like the last few sets. I feel like this entire year, I don't know if that has anything to do with the pandemic, but I feel like they've been going towards a more feel-good experience for players in general, but specifically new players.
Totally.
Yeah.
The one thing I really like about this card, though, is just that it's an eye bat. Its face is a literal eyeball, and the creature type is eye bat.
We need more eyes in Magic.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
tribal.
Eye tribal. Let's do it.
There are some really bizarre eyes in Magic. Like, if you have the time, you should search them up.
Oh, they're listening to this show. They have the time. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, for the flavor text, oculomancers see the ideal potion ingredient. The bats don't see it that way.
Oh, they're gonna take their eye. They need the eye.
Like,
Yeah.
don't take that. You'll make me learn.
Flunk is next. It's 1 and a black for an instant. Target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is 7 minus the number of cards in that creature's controller's hand.
Oh, I have to do math.
You gotta do some math. Yeah.
Oh,
It's like when you go for a job interview and they ask you how much you want to be paid an hour, and then you tell them like your yearly salary, and then they don't hire you because they had to do math.
I think this is a great removal card, though. Really, really good in like limited and like probably standard, because you're gonna you're dumping out your cards no matter what. So you're gonna be in those positions where this is just gonna remove the creature you need to remove with it, and it's 2 mana at instant speed. I don't think this is very good in Commander, though.
it's whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, I guess if they have a huge hand, then it's gonna do like it's gonna give them a plus, right? Yeah, no, this doesn't seem good for Commander.
No.
Good for limited.
Yeah.
Auric Lore Mage is next. It's 2 black for a 3/3 human warlock. You can tap it to search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, then shuffle. If it's an instant or sorcery card, put a 1/1 counter on Auric Lore Mage.
So this is like this is cool for like spell graveyard synergy kind of thing.
Yeah, like I it's like an entomb effect on a body. It is 4 mana though, and you have to wait an additional turn as a creature because it has summoning sickness.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going for that kind of theme, or if you want some redundancy and you don't necessarily care about the efficiency. Like, it's probably going to be fine. It's going to do what you want it to do.
Just put boots
Yeah,
on
like
it and you don't have to wait.
It's a good
and
redundant
it is
piece.
repeatable if it sticks around, right? But
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's probably going to play out a little clunky.
Just a little bit.
Plum the Forbidden is next. It's 1 and a black for an instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice 1 or more creatures. When you do, copy this spell for each creature sacrificed this way. You draw a card and you lose 1 life.
Hell yeah.
I guess I'm just sacking all my creatures.
I do it.
Draw cards.
Sometimes you're in a pinch, especially if you have like a there's Dictate of Erebos, but there's also the OG Grave Pact. You know, like that's gonna put a frown on your opponent's faces.
Yeah.
This card pairs very nicely with one that's coming up shortly, the Sedgemoor Witch.
Ooh, yeah.
That seems like a lot of fun to like have a deck kind of dedicated to, you know, making a bunch of incidental pests, then getting out the witch, and then like sacrificing a bunch of pests, and then getting a bunch more from copying this thing. So I don't know. This card seems really fun.
Professor Onyx is next. It's 4 black for a legendary planeswalker, Liliana. Comes into play with 5 loyalty counters on it. It has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Her +1 is you lose 1 life. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 1 of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Her -3 is each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls. And her -8 is each opponent may discard a card. If they don't, they lose 3 life. Repeat this process 6 or more times.
All right. Okay, so Tendrils of Agony as its static ability, a Dark Bargain as its +1 ability, Soul Shatter as its -3 ability, and a Torment of Hailfire as its -8. Like,
seems like a pretty good card.
Yeah, this thing is a house.
And then, of course, there was a card from Odyssey that completely spiked in price because of Professor Onyx.
Was it Odyssey? I thought it was Onslaught.
Onslaught, sorry.
Yeah.
Onslaught.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chain of Smog.
Chain of Smog.
Yeah, because it's like target player discards 2 cards from his or her hand. That player may copy the spell and choose a new target. So you just target yourself every single time.
Yeah.
And if Professor Onyx is out, you just kill everybody. You're like, good game, guys.
Yeah, GG, no cards in hand, but I still beat you.
It's pretty good. It's so funny that like it's kind of cool. That's why I really like Magic, because sometimes there's a card like this and there's a total garbage card from way back that just now is like super relevant.
And then the foils just skyrocket in price.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like, I mean, the downside is she can't really protect herself. Like, she has that -3 that can, somewhat protect herself, but it's no guarantee by any means. But for sure, like, if I was running a storm deck, like a mono black storm deck, like, she could be a fun way to finish the game.
Oh, hands down.
Okay, our last card today is Sedgemoor Witch. We did just mention it. It's 2 and a black for a 3/2 human warlock with menace. It has ward. Pay 3 life. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless that player pays 3 life. And it also has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with, when this creature dies, you gain 1 life.
That's a lot of good value.
Oh yeah. A lot on this card.
So, ward is a new keyword, by the way. New
it is,
evergreen keyword.
Ooh.
Spicy.
Evergreen.
Yeah, I really like ward as a keyword. Personally, it's really good.
It's gonna make for some feel bads when people get countered, though.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, things. I mean, it is fun, but like the diffusion sliver kind of thing is not. I just don't like paying extra for things.
I just prefer my spells being countered.
Yeah, I really, call me old fashioned, but I really do.
It's all right, you got me.
Yeah, I like how for like ward in black, like you have to pay life, so it's like you're gonna be draining your opponent life if they really want to target this as well.
Yeah, just a little bit of gravy. I don't think like in Commander that ward ability is not gonna hold them back very much, but it's I guess some good gravy on the way out.
Yeah,
bolt them to the face.
Oh yeah.
Which is funny because when you leave like a family dinner, and I don't know about you guys, but I often get sent home with food, and like gravy is not one of those things I get sent with on the way out. But in this scenario, you're getting gravy on the way out.
Yeah, I mean it's like having road poutine, right?
Oh, yeah, that's fair enough. I'm not a poutine guy, so I didn't even think of that. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It is like a road poutine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but poutine is like probably the best way to have gravy on the go.
Oh hell yeah!
Although I do like a good fries and gravy. I don't want the cheese in there.
Oh, that's fine.
That's fair.
I'll have your cheese.
Okay, yeah, we'll get. Yeah, I'll have a poutine, but take my cheese and put it on Riley's. Give him extra cheese. Don't charge him for it because I'm paying for it, and I'll just have fries and gravy. He's having a poutine with extra cheese, and if you're feeling generous, give him extra gravy, and we'll be on our way.
There you go.
Almost sounds like a threat.
Yeah, right. I'm a big fan of putting a little bit of ketchup on there, so you got the gravy and the ketchup.
Yummy. Yeah,
savory
that's
and sweet.
That does sound good.
You just made me uncomfortable.
I have a lot of people are like, why do you put ketchup on like gravy or like a poutine? I was like, I don't know.
It's that vinegar
extra,
like kind of bite.
Yeah,
I like it. I'm gonna try that.
Little bit of sweetness.
Yeah. And Riley, I think the threat just kind of came from the condescending nature of my voice, and I can't do anything about that. So everybody, with that, we're going to bring part 1 of our Strixhaven set review to a close. We will be back next week with part 2, of course, as usual. And we're definitely going to cover red and green. We'll see how much further we get. But if there are any white, blue, or black cards from this set that didn't make it onto our list and you're looking forward to playing with or just excited about, you can let us know. You can do that in the comment section below or DM us on Instagram. We'll get back to you real quick. But in any case, thank you for listening as usual, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks.
I bat.
Bye now.
Goodbye.
I bats.
Turn one soul ring.
Yeah, I won't get confused and say I'm Eric again.